Hey guys, my name is Anthony and in today's video we're going to be doing another F1 tips video, and this video is going to be about learning new tracks and finding braking points whilst you're learning new tracks. So before I get into that, I want to sort of talk about just the situation that I've been in recently. So recently I've been in hospital, no, it's nothing to do with COVID-19 without getting into the specifics. I was in hospital for a good couple of days. I'm feeling better now, so that's the good thing, I guess. You know, I'm feeling better now. The issues that I was going through is starting to subside, so that's good. But because of that, I wasn't able to really post earlier on this week, which is what I wanted to do. But yeah, sadly I wasn't able to do that because I was in hospital. Whilst I was in the hospital, I decided, you know what, I really want to focus on this one channel. Obviously, I know I said recently in my, I think it was my second episode, my Renault career mode video, that I wanted to upload on my second channel as well. But the way I see it is, you know, I don't really have a fan base. I don't really have a huge fan base right now on this channel, so there's no point in trying to make another channel as well. So I'll make another channel maybe down the line, hopefully when I've got a few more subscribers on this channel. So getting into the video now, the first thing I wanted to talk about is learning new tracks. Obviously with F1 2020 coming out, there's going to be 2 new tracks on the game that no one's really played in an F1 sense before, because it's 2 new tracks to F1. So when it comes to learning tracks on F1 2019 or specifically F1 2020, it's basically you want to go out with the default setup and just try and learn how different corners work. So for example, you want to go out, drive maybe about 50 to 75% and just try and learn what corners, what you need to do in certain corners. Basically, you want to ask yourself different questions. So if it's, you want to ask yourself questions like, is this a high speed corner? Do I need to brake very heavily going into this corner? If not, do I need to brake at all going into this corner? And you know, you want to ask yourself questions, and then I'd say you know, run about 5 laps with the default setup and just really ask yourself a good couple of questions about the track. And once you have those answers, then I would say to maybe run another 5 laps where you're going at 100%. See what sort of mistakes that you're making on the track, and if you are making mistakes, then you want to question yourself, why did you make that mistake? For example, there we just ran a little bit too deep into that corner, a little bit too close to the curb, and we ended up cutting the corner. So next time I know not to cut the corner, next time I know to sort of just be a little bit wider so that I'm not cutting the corner and getting invalidation. That's the sort of stuff that I'm talking about. If you're spinning out, ask yourself, why am I spinning out? Am I applying too much throttle too early and stuff like that? So you really want to you really want to ask yourself a bunch of questions. That's the easiest way to learn a track. You go out there, you drive, see how you're doing, and then ask yourself questions based on how you're doing and how you can improve. For example, you know, lap time can be found by doing anything. So you know, you could be getting on the throttle a little bit earlier, you could be braking a little bit later, you could be turning in a little bit sooner or turning in a little bit later to get a better exit. So you can really make time literally by doing anything different for what you've already done. So yeah, when it comes to learning new tracks, you want to first go out there for maybe 5 laps or so, drive at about 50 to 75% of your capabilities, and just ask yourself questions and try and answer those questions and see exactly, you know, how you can improve. And then you want to go out again for another 5 laps, but this time at 100%. You want to drive flat out as best as you can, and then see what mistakes you're making, and basically ask yourself questions again and see how you can be a bit more consistent. Obviously it's a little bit easier to be more consistent on the wheel than it is the pad, but you can still do those things even if you're driving with the pad. So coming into the end of this lap now, this is the lap that I've chosen. There is a lap later on as well, but we're coming into it. Basically this was me using the default setup, and I think I ended up getting a 26.9, which is pretty good for me in the default setup. So I want to sort of talk over this. So as you can see, we're coming into turn 3 now, and you can see when it comes to braking, I use trail braking, which is when you apply 100% of the throttle, and then as you're turning in the car into the corner, you want to slowly lift off the throttle. Then you can see that we did have a little bit of a lock up in this lap, so I'll show you. Basically I was turning a bit too much for the amount that I was braking. I should have lifted off the brake just a little bit more, or I should have stopped the rotation of my wheel to avoid that lock up. So basically that's the reason why I locked up there. So we're coming into, I want to say this is turn 6. This is a completely different corner. It's a little bit more, you carry a little bit more speed into it. So because of that, as I'm showing you here, the braking point, which is just between the 150 meter board, I'm showing you here that pretty much what you want to do is you want to sort of brake, but not fully brake, because in this example I was actually braking on the curb, and sometimes braking 100% on the curb can actually cause you to lock up. So for some corners where you're braking on the curb, you want to maybe just take your foot off the brake a little bit more, and basically only brake say 95%, or even in some cases less than that, especially if you're driving in the wet. If you're driving in the wet, probably only want to be braking really like 70% brake pressure there. So coming through Maggots and Beckett's, I don't really know the names of corners and the number of corners. I'm pretty terrible when it comes to that stuff, but I do know that sequence of corners is called Maggots and Beckett's. I don't even know what this corner is called. This is a really high speed corner, and as you can see I only brake a little bit. I think I was only like 40%, or not even that, just to shift down, brake, and then try and get into try and basically just throw the car into the corner there. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that lap when it comes to the whole braking and stuff like that. And I think I should have a little comparison between 2 laps that I did in that session, which the first one on the left hand side I think is the 26.9, which is the one you've just watched, and the second one, the one on the right, is a 26.8, which I got later on in the session. And I wanted to just show you guys these 2 laps side by side, so that you can actually see what I mean when I'm talking about you can find time by just doing things differently. Obviously I mentioned earlier on when it comes to learning new tracks, but you could really see it here that, you know, I was doing some things just a little bit differently, and because of that I was able to find time, even though it was only a 10th. Again, in qualifying, if you're basically competing against other people, that 10th could be the difference between you being in pole position and you being in like 3rd or 4th place, for example, depending on how competitive it is in the league or whatever it is that you're racing in. So yeah, please just take a look at these 2 laps. I'm hoping that you guys can see them very clearly. If you can't, then hopefully just, you know, blow the screen up so you're looking at them at full screen, just so you can see the minute differences that I'm doing to find time. So yeah, at that point I'm gonna leave it off here. If you liked this video or you want to see more videos like this, then hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Trying to push for 100 subscribers now, we're nearly there, so you know, it'd be really awesome if I can hit that. Also follow me on Twitter and Twitch, which will be in the description below as well. I stream on Twitch every Sunday at 4:30. I won't be streaming today because it's a break this week, but from next week I'll be streaming again. So yeah, and again, follow me on Twitter so that you can keep up to date with some of the videos that I'm going to be posting over the next coming weeks. So I'll see you guys then.